So, welcome back. It's time for another How To Tuesday, and we're going to talk about how to make one right Purl-wise. So, if you don't know who I am Aradia Noir. I'm the resident witch and creatrix over at Aradia's Hand and Today is Divine, where I create myth, magic, and meaning for your everyday life through art, intuition, and energy work. So, in all the other Make One videos, as I've mentioned, if you'd like to see all of them, they're all linked below. They're linked to each other. You can decide which one you like, which one you don't like, which one's easier for you, what have you. This is a garter stitch border. You see, it's really evident here on the knit side. And I will be posting a video about garter stitch. And I'm going to be knitting continental style and combination my way. So I will link those videos below as well. And with the Make One Right Purl-wise, it's exactly the same as making one right knit-wise, only you're purling instead of knitting. You still orient the stitches and place the needles in the same places. And that means that some people find certain versions to be easier than others. And part of that depends on how you normally knit, whether you knit Eastern, Western, or combination, and so how you're used to forming the stitches. But suffice it to say, either way, your end result is making a single stitch that is fairly low key, unlike a yarn over where it's very, very obvious. And so whatever way floats your boat works. So I'm going to go ahead and work the first 5 stitches, do our make one, and work the rest. And I'm going to do that a couple of times so you can see how it looks. And of course, we're going to be purling, so you're going to make sure the yarn is in front. Because we're making one right, you're going to go from the back of the work to the front under this bar. That's right there. And some people find it easier to do if you pull on the fabric a little bit, and you can certainly do that, but do so gently so you don't distort your stitches too much. And then because we went from the back to the front, we're going to work into the front of the stitch. And I like to do, that's what I do with my knit, make one left knitwise, is I will start in the back and move the needle forward. And then you're going to yarn over. Let's try again. And you have now made one. Finish off this row so you can see it. So as you can see, there's a slight difference, right? It's just this little one right here. It's not super ostentatious, which is the whole point. You don't want it huge and bulky and obvious. So we'll go ahead and you turn it over. Much like the Make One Right knitwise, the stitch that it creates is very small and drawn together, unlike the other stitches. So that's the easiest way to tell it's there. So again, you can see it there. You can see it slowly starting to spread out. It's only one stitch, but it's still noticeable that it's a little wider here than it is there. So we're going to work up to that stitch and work another make one on either side. Do another row and then do it a third time so you can see it done a few times. Okay, so make sure our yarn is in the front. We're gonna again insert in that bar between the stitches from back to front. And you're gonna insert into the front of the stitch. We're gonna work this one right here. Do the same thing again. So we're going to insert into the bar from back to front, making sure our yarn is in the front. So we're purling. And inserted the yarn, the needle on the front, yarn over. And you've now made one purl-wise, made one right purl-wise, pardon me. And as you can see, it becomes more noticeable now because you've added 2 stitches. And just like the front, it looks very similar to what it would look like if you made one right knitwise on the other side. So we're going to do one more. And I would say that the make ones are probably my preferred increases. I use them a lot for gussets and places where I need to add stitches, but I don't want it super, super obvious. Alright, so we're down to our last one. We're going to work 5 stitches. Going to do a make one on either side, those 3 stitches in between, and then we'll be done. Alright, so this is where we need to do our make one. I'm going to go, remember, insert the needle under the bar, back to front, go into the front of the purl, yarn over, and then you will knit these or purl these 3 stitches in between. And then again, we're going to go in that bar, back to front, making sure our yarn is in the right place. And insert into the front of the stitch, yarn over. And as you can see, working a make one right purl-wise for me is easier, and that's because of how I combination knit. So there we go. Well, it looks a little messy. That is something that blocking with all the fibers would settle. But you can see there's more stitches, and there's a slow fanning out of the fabric, which is what you want. You don't want it super obvious and huge and have like really big holes places. So hopefully you found that informative. I would love to hear from you. Have you used this technique before? Did you like it? Or is there another way you like to do increases in your work? And remember that links to all the other Make One videos are below, as well as links to a garter stitch video, how and my knitting method and style, which is my style is continental, and the knitting method I use is a variation on combination my way. So thanks and enjoy and happy knitting. Bye.